What's going on, guys? My name is Andrew Metz and this is Knex Flex. So a little bit of background about this device. I tore my ACL about 7 months ago playing football, and ever since I've been working on a device to track knee angle measurements for extension and flexion. Basically, during this recovery process, and talking with physical therapists and professors, I have noticed that there's a lack in ability to track knee movement while performing exercises, and that can be incredibly valuable when trying to detect deficiencies between legs or detect areas of improvements for your knee. So for the past 7 months, I've been working on, or it's been more like 5 months or so, but I've been working on a device that's similar in concept to a knee brace, but is used to track the angle at which your knee is bending, so that data could be analyzed to improve ACL recovery or knee recovery in general, whether it's for older people who just struggle to walk or other surgeries within the knee or leg. So this device has 4 straps on it, connecting to the thigh, just above the knee, just below the knee, and the ankle. It's all connected through metal bars of aluminum for stability. And yeah, basically it's adjustable at 6 different locations. At each of the joints where the strap connects to the brace itself, there are 3D printed parts that can extend away or retract closer depending on how far away your leg is from the device itself. So the device itself stays completely straight up and down your leg, or at least, it stays straight, it doesn't bend in or out. And these points adjust to be the correct distance away from your leg for comfortability and for effectiveness. So those adjustable pins are every location. There's 4 to 7 of them. So if your knee is kind of at an angle, you can just adjust some of them so that the strap itself is at an angle for comfortability. So there's one right there and one at the very bottom. And then also the metal, there's 2 parts to the metal. There's a top part and a bottom part connected through the hinge in the middle. The top part also has 2 parts, and they slide through this connector here with a little piece that's stopping this piece from moving, and this piece is stuck in place. So what you can do is, if your knees are longer, you can use a little pin to remove this part, and this top piece is free to slide up or extend out to account for varying knee sizes. And then once you find where you want to put it, you simply line it up, take this piece and slide it back in so that it is locked in place like that. And now it can no longer move. So yeah, that's the same concept as on the bottom for extending this bottom part down here for varying angles of your calf portion of the leg. So yeah, and then at the center, there's a hinge, and I'll go into exactly how this works more in a different video. But basically, it's just 2 parts that slide, and they're connected to one another. And inside, there's what's called a magnetic encoder on one piece that stays still, and a magnet on the other. So as a magnet spins, the magnetic encoder tracks the spin of the magnet and stores the angle that it is spun at as the angle of the knee. So right here, the magnet is at 0 degrees, you turn it, the magnet is at 90, and so on, right? And then for the circuitry. So how the circuit of this device works is you have the on and off button, and then you have the battery obviously down here, and then you have the components themselves. So it uses an Arduino Pro Mini microcontroller, Arduino Pro Mini microcontroller in the middle is obviously a bit messy, lots of wires. It's still duct taped together, so still got some stuff to do, obviously. But there's an Arduino Pro Mini microcontroller in the bottom down here with an SD card reader up here and a battery control module right there. So yeah, in this SD card reader, there's obviously an SD card that stores the angles. So it takes angle measurements every like 100th of a second or so. And yeah, so the idea is the microcontroller analyzes or takes the measurements from the magnetic encoder in the hinge itself and stores it on the SD card. And the SD card can be removed, plugged into a computer, and analyzed. Later down the line, the goal is to make an app so you can actively see the angle that your knee is at. But for now, it's just gonna be incorporated like this. And then the goal is to remove this data in the SD card, plug it into some software that uses both AI and just traditional analysis techniques to analyze improvements in walking, in movement, or in just knee recovery in general. So yeah, the goal now is to obviously remove duct tape and make it more secure, clean up the wiring and stuff. But this is beginning process, and I will go more into depth in how every component works in a separate video. And now I'm going to put it on so I can explain exactly how it connects to your knee. The first thing you want to do is obviously orient it right. The longer strap should be at the top for your quad, smaller strap at the bottom, or the battery's at the bottom. A ton of different ways to look at it, but just obviously want the bigger side on the quad. So the first thing you do is you start with the top strap. I find it to be the easiest. And honestly, you just kind of put it on, connect it kind of wherever. Doesn't have to be this tight. You can kind of loosen it at first, just so that it's on your leg, and then you can work with the other parts easier. So then you go to the second strap, and you simply buckle it in. All these straps use buckles, and they're adjustable with a little strap over here that you can tighten or loosen as needed. And then once you have these two in, you kind of, you want to slide it up so that the hinge is aligned with about the middle of your knee. So I need to move this up. I'm going to loosen this bottom strap a little bit so that it can be moved upward. That looks about good. So I'm gonna connect this. So now we have the bottom strap. Also, when you're putting this on, make it so that it appears to be going straight up and down from a top view. So adjust the little pins for every connecting point as needed. So I'm gonna move this one out a little bit so it's a bit closer to my leg. Press this one in a little bit so it's a bit further away from my leg so it's more up and down. Now clearly it's at a little bit of an angle right now, so I'm gonna line it up better. You want it quite far on the side of your leg. In fact, you want it exactly on the side of your leg, obviously, so that it tracks the angle properly. So it doesn't have to be perfect. You now just strap these in. I'm gonna loosen this bottom part a little bit. Oh, this one's quite tight. Loosen this bottom part, strap it in, tighten it, and buckle this bottom part in. So now the entire thing's buckled in. Tighten these straps to your liking. You want them fairly tight, obviously, so it doesn't move around a ton. And then last thing I like to do is just look at it, straighten out my knee. This knee goes past 0 and the device itself is going past 0. So all looks correct. But yeah, just make sure it's not at any like weird angles. Look at it from straight above, go to about 0 degrees. Make sure it looks like it's about at 0. And once it's all strapped on, you can obviously tighten it however it feels most comfortable to you. Double check that the hinge itself is aligned with your knee. It doesn't have to be perfect, but again, as good as possible. And just move around a little bit. Make sure it all feels good. You know, bend your knee. So yeah, this is a loose wire. But yeah, power button's up here. You turn it on. You wait for the light to turn red in here. And you'll see 2 red lights. Once they're both red, it means that it's reading data. And you're good to go. You can move around. Yeah, it's tracking all of my knee angle measurements right now. And then later they can be used, or they can be analyzed to see what I need to improve on. And yeah, you can kind of cover this up if you like. Power button is up here on the side, easy to access. Batteries at the bottom. All the components are in the middle. And yeah, everything's adjustable. The straps are all adjustable, of course. The distance away it is from your legs is adjustable. If you feel like it's kind of bending at weird angles, you can adjust that. And if your leg's a bit longer, you just take this piece, make it longer. If it's smaller, bring it up a little bit, and same with the top part. And yeah, there you go. You have it connected to your leg and you're all good to go. So thank you guys for listening, and have a good one.